Okay, you're good.
Good? All right, everybody ready?
Yep.
We'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Which had happened to
First up on the agenda, meeting minutes from our January 14th meeting. Didn't know if anybody's had the time to, they were in our packet. If you have any corrections, additions, if not, accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved by Mike, second by Darren. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Next up, Sally, ordinance amendment. Weights and measures. The, what is it, 1475 for?
Yes, so that is for the anticipated cost of the training that David is doing with our newest employee for the weights and measures. So it's kind of a dual thing as he's training. So we're just asking for those wages. His official last day, he believes, will be February 20th.
Questions?
Have the commissioners filled that yet? Yeah, who is it?
Eric Wolford is who the commissioners
Okay.
have approved and appointed to that position.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Marilyn. Second by Matt. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution GPC waiver. We've talked about this. Obviously, they didn't get their form signed. Did notice it for 2 years. Crystal caught it, Crystal and Jen. We have decided to split it with them. Legally, we don't have to, but it's your largest taxpayer and what they're paying. I was in discussions with Kevin at GPC and in Muscatine, and he's happy to be here and thankful that, wondering why nobody on his end caught it, but we agreed to split it. So,
I think that's fair.
so it's 363, we'll give them back 190,000 each for off their payment on May and November, and then the other 100, we'll keep.
I mean, they're a good corporate partner, and we appreciate that relationship, so they worked with us.
Yeah, and they really, very complimentary of Davis County and happy to, just wondering why they didn't, he's wondering why they didn't catch it. Anyway,
I would move to approve this resolution.
motion by Mr. Sprinkle, second by Mike. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Oh, same sign. Next up, West Boggs Lake treatment.
Morning.
Okay. Okay.
I have the electronic version.
I got one too.
Morning, everybody. Excited to be in front of you this morning regarding West Boggs Lake. We have a great opportunity, but first I want to, the last time we ran it, was from January 1st to October 31st of 2025. We had 299.2 thousand visitors. Out of that, there were 72,000 individual visitors, people. So obviously people come more than once. To put that in perspective, there's 34,000 people in Daviess County, about 9,800 in Martin. So in total, we had more than double the entire populations of both counties visiting this park. And to note, that doesn't include Amish or children who wouldn't have cell phones. So obviously a huge tourism draw and a big revenue draw to the area. I want to also note that all the homes around West Boggs, their assessed value would be much higher because that lake is there, and all of those are in Daviess County. So it's important for us in multiple ways. As you know, unfortunately, the lake is not super healthy. We do get a lot of visits. People love the lake, but we're constantly dealing with water quality issues. We have about 8,400 acres that drain into West Boggs, and a lot of that is farmland, and even the areas that aren't farmland have a pretty high concentration of animals, resulting in this. So I've been all over the country and out of the country, I've never seen a lake of this size get this green, so it's kind of a unique problem. So we're looking for unique solutions to fix that. I attend water conferences, and everybody's kind of doing the same thing, which really isn't working. So the traditional treatments aren't super effective, and we're looking for unique things. The enzyme formula was actually formulated for hog waste pits. So it helps break down organic material and then reduce phosphorus and nutrients and then create a clean water column on top. That's very similar to what we're doing. So we're getting all that farmland running into the lake. So the enzymes work in conjunction with bacteria to help break down that organic material. We tried that in 2024, which is the study that I have there on a smaller scale. So we have 2 sediment basins that unfortunately do need dredged out, but one of them still has a little bit of water in it. And those are in these locations here. You can see there. So we did a treatment on one of those, and it proved extremely effective. So normally that's even nastier than the lake itself during midsummer, and that's year that we put that in. We had over 1 million cell counts in the main lake while that basin had 0. So it was extraordinarily effective on that smaller scale. So we're looking at beefing that up a little bit. Talked to folks in the Indiana state government as well as federal funds matching. And so what we're looking at is a lake treatment. Last year, at the end of the year, we got 200,000 scot-free without a match. This year, to continue that, which we do need to, we have to come up with 100,000 in total on our own. The park itself can provide 40,000. Please note that we are spending money in other ways out of our lake enhancement funds, such as environmental studies, and I've got law and engineering teams working on stuff for the Conservancy District, so we are spending quite a bit of money that way, but we also can afford 40. We're hoping that you guys can match 60,000 in total for that 100,000 to get 550,000 in total. Not only will we get a lot of lake treatment, this comes with a lot of studies, so much more data, a lot more testing than we've ever had before. We're going to do 8 different sites that'll encompass the entire lake. There's other things too. We have a boat now at the park that's not ours. It's the Enzyme Company's that we purchased last year, or they did. We're holding that for them. It's retrofitted to help put this product in hard to reach areas. In addition to that, we're going to use tanker trucks to push it off 1200 East, which will kind of drain toward the dam. So I think we have a pretty solid plan going forward for this. It's very interesting. Something else to note, I had them do toxicity studies on all kinds of different wildlife, so crustaceans, fish, things of that nature, to make sure that we're not risking our important resource, which honestly fishing in West Boggs is really why people go. They did all the way up to 10,000 parts per million with no effects. We're looking at like 6 to 9 parts per million to treat for the algae, so we shouldn't see a lot of issues there. We have some hidden things going on. We may have a lot of water quality increasing, which will help the sunlight penetrate to the bottom, so we may have different plants growing, things like that. But I don't see any risk to environmental health or anything in that regard. So pretty exciting opportunity for us. Not only is it going to be helpful, I think it kind of gets us on the map, showing that other people care and really see our lake. So you guys have any direct questions or anything regarding that?
What's your timetable to get this project?
We want to start when the water hits 55 degrees. 55 degrees.
55.
Yep. So I'm assuming, late spring. Then we'll start treating that. Kind of allows the biological activity to start. If you put it in the cold, the bacteria and enzymes just aren't doing anything. So we are seeking those funds this month, I would say, ideally. I'd like to get plans kind of solidified through March. Funds will go to Enzyme Solutions, so they're in Garrett, Indiana. However, if this is dispersed to the park, we could then, put it together with our funds and then give them the check.
And then from swimming and skiing, that
No problems. Yep, I've got it all over my skin last year. It's fine.
Mike?
Yeah, is Martin County contributing on this?
They are not contributing to this project directly. However, they do show us a lot of support. So I want to kind of illustrate that. A lot of it's the Community Foundation. They've given us $1,750 for the golf course, $10,000 plus for the tornado siren, $10,000 for the beach house, $5,000 toward our stage, $5,000 toward Battle of the Bands. We had a $500 impact grant, another $20,000 for the beach house. So they are contributing in other ways, but no, they're not contributing directly to this. And I think part of that was a little bit of a mistake. I asked someone over there, and it sounded like they'd already done the budget and they weren't able to change that. But I heard later on that that wasn't exactly true. It was just a mistake. So, we can certainly, look at that later on. But I do want to note again that all the homes are in Davies County, almost the entire lake's in Davies County. So I think, a lot of the impact and tax base are over here anyway.
Additional questions?
Nathan, you've got a member of your board here. You might want to introduce him.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, this is our board president, Phil Cornelius. So, yeah, if you want to.
I just came to support Nathan this morning. Reiterate how important that we feel the project is as a resident of the West Boggs area. We saw the downturn whenever the lake looked the way it did in those photos. So vitally important. I know the lake residents we had we kind of approached this as a three-legged stool type of thing. Was the figuring out what the problem was, short-term solutions, and then long-term solutions. Our long-term solution is we're trying to form the Conservancy District. We know that our basins are going to have to be dredged eventually, and we know that'll come with a large price tag. Also, in that same scope, is we need to keep this from happening again. I like to think long-term on everything I do. So, what's the long-term solution? We would like to see smaller basins in the uplands, up in the farm fields and the ditches, capture the sediment before it ever gets into the 14 and 17 acre basin. So to do that, the Conservancy District we feel like is the solution. We're a long ways in on that now. It's still not developed, but we're working on that. It will have to be put before the taxpayers over there and go to a vote, obviously. But I can tell you when we had our meeting at Dinky Center 4 years ago, there was probably over 300 people in there, and every one of them was expressing concern the quality of the water quality of the lake, because they know how big of an impact it's making in the area up there. So.
Phil, seems like several years ago there was a lot of opposition to doing much by some of the local farmers primarily, but it sounds like that's, and I know in the last couple of years it sounds like that it's changed. Because I think actually, by seeing what's happened to the lake directly, those folks are starting to be more aware and cognizant of it's up to them to help take care of the lake.
That's right. At the end of the day, it's their resource, right? So, and it comes with a lot of responsibility. And we formed a water quality committee. That's one of the other things we did, and we have some of the local farmers on there. It's been well attended, and I personally have seen positive results coming out of that committee out on the ground. You know what I mean? People doing some simple things to help without spending a lot of money. So I'm highly encouraged. I think this will go forward. If it doesn't, the lake's in trouble. It's that simple. So.
I think sometimes we take things like this for granted. It's been around now for a long time,
50.
But if you take a step back and look at it, I'm on the Westgate board, and so lots of things happening up at Westgate right now, and we had a meeting yesterday talking about the number of jobs and how many positions are going to need to be filled here within the next several months. And people are looking for places. They're going to be bringing in, there was a number thrown out yesterday, I don't know if I believe it, but a number of engineers that are going to be needed fairly soon. And they got to live somewhere. And so obviously, housing is a big problem, but amenities is another big thing that we lack in our communities. And so this is one of those amenity assets that we have that we can really help and and be a draw to bring people to our county and to our local region. And we need to keep this as good a shape as we can keep it.
I 100% agree. And when Nathan came on, we're lucky to have him, by the way. He's doing a great job. Thank you for that. He's a caring individual. But when he came on, we drive the park together and get up on the hill there by the shelter houses that's up over, and you can pretty much overlook the park. And I said the slate's wide open up there. That park is the crown jewel. It's just primed for whatever dollars we can spend there to get the amenities you're talking about, whether that be an inn or whether it be a venue of some kind, conference center. I mean, it's ripe for doing whatever the counties can work together and get done. So it's exciting for me. That kind of stuff gets me going. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm getting long-winded here.
I was gonna talk about dredging too, but I know you guys were more pointed on this. I do want to note something since he brought it up. This picture shows that large basin that's 17 acres. There's no water in there. That becomes extraordinarily more expensive. So I wanted to kind of illustrate that to you guys. If we maintenance things on time, it becomes way less expensive as it goes. It costs 3 times more to dig out a full basin than it would if there was some water in there. We can have boats and pump it out, but now it will cost 3 times more. So some of this stuff, it kind of carries into a lot of aspects, but something to note on the dredging. If we need to do that on the smaller basin soon, because if it fills in, it gets way more expensive.
Have you talked to anyone else about the funding? Visitors Bureau, EDC, nobody else?
Well, EDC did give us funding
for the Conservancy.
Yeah, to help get the Conservancy district going on the legal fees and stuff like that.
Okay.
40,000.
One other source,
Yeah.
I've been to some meetings, a group out of Jasper called Being for Others. It's
Yeah.
a fairly new group that grants money, and Davies and Martin counties are both in their grant area. They've had meetings here all month.
Yep.
In different counties, so you might check them out.
We have, thank you.
Okay,
We have
good.
not directly for this, but we have for other.
I don't know
Okay.
if that's something they would. I mean, I've been to some of their meetings, but they've got a lot of money, and they put a lot of
Yeah.
money out there in this community, our communities.
Yeah, we've got a lot of projects unfortunately going on in the park, redoing a lot of buildings. A lot of our bathrooms need redone, offices needs redone, beach house needs redone, things like that. So we're utilizing all of those grants. We have it's actually going really well, like a very detailed calendar of what grants and when we can apply, how much, what the match is, things like that.
Yeah.
There are some with matches that we're gonna look at, some larger ones. The Lair grant just opened, that's up to a $2 million project, but I need to match half, so we want $2 million in stuff, I need $1 million to match, so we're looking at all those sources to help match those funds.
Ethan and Phil, what about like private sponsorships? Like there's maybe, I'm sure you're working on things like that. So for example, if a company wants to come in and rebuild something for you, but then they get sponsorship, for so many years. I'm sure you're working on that stuff as well.
We sure.
Because, as the county, you have limited funds, which you can push that way, but private is probably going to be a good, avenue for you guys.
We do a lot of that.
Yeah, so
I'm
that
glad
would be
you
nice
brought
to
that
see.
up, 'cause-
What's that?
I said, I'm glad you brought that up because we
hit
talked
that
about
hard.
coming to see your employer, so.
Yeah. I'll be happy to talk with you. Yeah, and then those numbers and what you're doing there would be great for us to see, because we know when we get asked for a lot of different things, we don't know what you guys are doing outside of that. And it's really hard, it's definitely a great thing, but it's nice to know the amount of activity going on to pursue some of those other venues. So it's good. So, yeah, if you put something together on that too, that'd be awesome.
Sure.
What is the total you brought in since you've been there? 100 and whatever that number was.
I think it was
Money-wise.
641,000.
641,000 in grants. since he's been
If this is.
Oh, that's good.
there. Yeah, if we get this, yeah.
But I'm just thinking, because you guys want to move pretty proactively, right, to get things done. So, I mean, to do that, to move as fast as you can, that's going to be private more than public money. You know how that is. So I was just wondering how you guys are approaching that, how you marketing that.
We have a program guide that gets many thousands of copies. People are recognized there. We announce people on the stage during concerts. We have signage inside the park. We offer them all kinds of advertisements. We have, 18,000 followers on Facebook. They're recognized there. They're recognized over the radio, lots of different ways. And we do have a lot of community sponsorships. And to be honest with you, we've had a ton of help. People like, I don't want to single anybody out. Graber Post has been amazing. When I got on, the park was, I want to say, dilapidated. We had shelters falling in. We had roofs leaking, all that stuff. Those folks have been amazing. DC Metal's given us great deals on things. They've helped with the stage. I've got their name on it, as exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly, yeah.
Graber Post has been helpful. They came in, fixed multiple shelters for us at no charge, because they've just seen, so many people use this park, and it's become dilapidated and unsafe.
Important.
So we're
They just know
moving
if
in
you
that
want to
direction.
move quickly, it's going to have to be a lot of private sector. Oh, sounds good.
Yeah. As of this goes, I mean, we're pretty down to the wire on time. You know, I kind of approached last year about this. You know, I don't know that we can make a long-term plan for funding now, you know, for other sources, given that it's already February. You know, we certainly seek those sources in other ways. I've got, you know, I could spend 20 million in that park next year, you know, to fix stuff up and not even build anything new. So, you know, dredging, lake treatments, fixing the buildings, that kind of thing. So, you know, if you guys are willing to contribute this 60, you know, I can guarantee you that we're seeking funding from Martin and other sources and all the private businesses and everybody that we can, you know, give the same pitch to, that this is an important resource for everyone, and a lot of them have been very willing to help.
Real quick, can you summarize the numbers again for this specific
Yeah.
project?
So we got 200,000 last year.
From-
That was in direct lake treatment. So then now I'm seeking 60 from you. Boggs Park's going to give 40,000, and then we get 250,000 from state and federal funding. That's a total of 550,000 for the entire project. That includes lake treatments, studies, equipment, multiple reports coming in throughout the year, so it'll really illustrate the health of the lake. In addition to that, that's kind of a pioneering project. This is going to echo into other areas. So, you know, we're pretty excited to see what's going on with, they're doing lanthanum treatments basically and enzyme treatments in different lakes throughout the state of Indiana, and we're going to see what works best. As I mentioned, every lake is having trouble with this. Ours is uniquely green. Everyone's having issues though. And you know, this is going to help, this study is going to help everyone. So I think it's important in that regard. In addition to that, if we keep the lake open, it's a huge draw in revenue and, you know, enjoyment out of people. I've been out on holiday weekends in the middle of the summer, and I've been to Patoka. I bought a boat to go to Patoka. You know, I live on Boggs because it's hard to swim late in the summer, and I've seen that parking lot completely empty at Boggs, and Patoka is entirely full. So that shows me that everyone comes, and we make a lot of money in the spring, a lot of use in the spring. People love to fish. As soon as the lake gets warm, they don't come. So there's a lot of back-end revenue that'll help with that as well. Not only that, it's a health risk. You know, these are neurotoxins. It's not a, you know, it's not okay to be swimming in toxic lakes. Now, this doesn't always happen. No one really knows when the cells produce the toxin, but anything over 100,000 is kind of getting to the point where it can produce enough toxin to be very harmful to people, animals. It gets in the air, people breathe it. So we kind of want to keep these cell counts low.
The $250,000 state and federal grant, that's already approved and a done deal.
It is.
Okay. Any additional questions?
I have one more. And
Yep.
Nathan, could you, not to beat a dead horse here, but could you elaborate on what the plan is for the Lake Enhancement Fund right now? You got 80, our records show 86,000 in there. What are you doing?
Yeah, that sounds right. Well, I've got Soil and Water is a engineering firm that we're working with currently, so he's doing a lot of studies in regard to what Phil alluded to with the basins and the conservancy districts, so figuring out how we're going to exactly, you know, where to put the dirt, where to dig, that kind of thing. So that's going to save us in the long run. In addition to figuring out the costs of, you know, moving that earth and getting very accurate details together, so then we could possibly do that conservancy district. You know, 40,000 of that's going to go to this, obviously. I don't know if, you know,
Yeah, so
related.
rather than trying to piecemeal it together, we felt like we can define for this project the 60K, rather than have to come back later and say, hey, we also need another 25K. So that's why we didn't spend the fund down more.
Okay. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, we could spend a lot of money on all kinds of stuff for the lake, so there's going to be other costs. You know, the conservancy is not going to be free. You know, I'm already somewhat stressed as it is with it. You know, this is expensive.
Questions, comments?
It's a great asset for the county.
It
I
is.
say that. We can't hardly live without it.
Yeah.
I would make the motion that we approve the 60,000 and designate the funds come out of the riverboat fund where it's non-taxpayer dollars.
I'll second it.
Okay. First by Mike Sprinkle, second by Tom. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kelly, I believe you're next. Oh, BZA appointment, but we don't have any nominee to appoint, so we'll work on that.
Morning. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that.
Morning.
Not sure on the agenda which one we're at. Is it the AED? Is that first?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So our AED program, just as a background, we've distributed 137 AEDs in this community over the course of the last 20 years. We've also provided batteries and pads to keep them up to date and usable. They have saved lives in this community. I could tell you many stories. However, with all of our funding cuts, we've had to reevaluate that program. So now, because of our ability to purchase at such a reduced rate, we have what we would call a pass-through program, where churches and the YMCA, as you see in this one, we purchase it for them and then they pay us. So if I can please have this fund, these funds placed back in its account where we paid for that AED and cabinet for them. So we can keep going and purchasing more. I think next one would be probably, I think Antioch Church has reached out. Any questions?
This is a credit, basically, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
They've reimbursed us, and because of, we'll need the funds to continue.
And you received the money in last year, and
Yes, it happened at the end of the year, so
the bill came in this year.
we bought it last year and paid for it this year, so.
If, I spent an hour, Kelly, yesterday going through all of her budgets and all these things, and things have really changed in the last year or two from her budgets and things that they're doing. So I'm sure she'd welcome anybody, but it's interesting if you look at from the vaccinations and all the things that's going on there with what they're doing and how much of that's been cut by Senate Bill 1. It's going to take a toll everywhere, and in this county as well.
Yes, it is. Cumulatively, between federal, state grants, as well as our Health First Indiana allocation, we're about 70% lower than what we normally would be. So we've really had to reevaluate every program. This is still a priority program. We just can't fund it directly. However, we do have the funds to directly maintain the AEDs in this county for the Sheriff's Department, especially, and our buildings here.
That was gonna be my question.
Yes.
Buying new ones and putting more out there is great, but there's also a cost associated with maintaining
Yeah,
them.
yeah. So we're going to continue to maintain these here in the county. The commissioners, we had some discussions about that back during budget time. So, yeah, we have one in just not every sheriff car, I believe. Very important program.
Darren, that sounded like a motion, was it?
I move that we approve the,
Motion by Darren. A couple things here. We'll do the CPR 80s first. So a motion by Darren, second by Tom. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right.
Okay, the next two I know are outside of, were not included in our budget, and if you'll give me a minute to review that. These, so when we came into budget hearings, our Health First Indiana Fund went from $770,000 last year to $200,000 this year and next year. So we weren't sure what we would end the year with in our cash per se to operate for this year and next year until the next state's budget. We really ratcheted down the last quarter, of course, after our budget was approved, and we did have some carryover in HFI. And we are going to need some of those funds to pay for our clinical supplies, as mentioned here, our tubes, syringes, Band-Aids, things of that nature. And then also we have medical waste pickup. These things were going to be paid out of our county funds, traditionally in the past out of vaccine funds, but we really have seen a rise in cost of vaccines, and that's beginning to be tight. So we'd like to use our cash reserves of HFI from our carryover to fund these two items in our clinics.
And that's state money that we have received,
Correct.
not county money.
It's in the state's budget. get it January 1 full allocation.
I move to approve the request for $11,800 from the Health First Indiana Fund.
Second.
Who did the first? I wasn't looking. Tom first. Mike second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Pose the same sign on both of those. Thank you. And
Thank you.
if you got time sometime, as I said, you go there and look through the numbers and all the budgets and all the stuff. There's a lot going on over there. There is.
There
Thank
is.
you for that yesterday. I learned a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Next up, BRIC grant program, contract services.
Morning.
Scott.
This is a complicated grant. I can start out and give you the short story or the long story, but it's a story. This grant is required by FEMA. It is basically a mitigation grant that counties, communities, incorporated communities can apply for mitigation grants. This plan that this grant covers is what's required to receive those mitigation funds. This plan, we have couple of meetings that we have, and they determine the risk of the county and the hazards in the county and rate them. What's the top level of those risks? And it never changes for us because it's always weather. You have severe storms, wind, tornadoes, then you have what we just had, winter storms, ice storms, that kind of thing, earthquakes. It's always natural related as our top tier hazards. We have very little in hazardous problems or anything like that. So we always rank in the top in those to cover. With this grant, we pay FEMA pays for a contractor. State of Indiana applies to FEMA for this grant on behalf of each county that is required. This is required by every county, and it's updated every 5 years. So they know when the plan is to be updated. They request it from FEMA. They get it approved, whatever amount it is, and then a contractor is then hired to write the plan or update the plan in these cases. So past 2 years, we've used IU Polis Center to write our plans, and so we continued ask them to do it. It's been approved to do that, but this funding is $24,304 is what is reimbursed from FEMA through the state to us, and then there's $8,128 that is an in-kind match, which is our work that we do on our end of it to pay that amount. So we ask for the full amount based on if there's any shortfall that we don't meet the match for whatever, if we don't get enough response from communities to come to the meetings and all that stuff, because response from the communities they are assigned a hourly rate, and then that is credited towards our in-kind match. So the more people that show up to the meeting creates more revenue to our match. And so we're asking for the full amount, but we'll get to reimburse the $24,000, and then the $8,000 will get credited down, hopefully all of it, and so that will just be left in the fund that can be transferred back out, put back in the general. This does have a little catch in it, in that as in April of last spring, the new administration decided to do away with mitigation funding. And so there's no money to do mitigation, but yet we're required to have this plan. They've stuck a clause in it that if you do have a disaster in your town or community and you want disaster assistance, you have to have this plan. So they got a catch in there that you have to have the plan if you want support. So if it's just mitigation, I'd say we don't need it, don't need the plan, but they put that clause in there and it's gonna require us to have it in order to get the funding. So that's where we're at now is we've had one meeting with IU Polar Center. We got another one today, and they will start working on the plan. They send us a draft. We go over it. It's sent to FEMA. They look at it and either approve it or send it back and say, you need to adjust this. And then we do that adjustment and send it back till they approve it. And then once they approve it, it's good for 5 years. And hopefully they figure out what they're doing in that 5 years' time to this. They've already said there will be no more funding for this grant. It'll be up to the local levels this plan. So if we're going to do it in the future, it'll be up to the locals to pay for this plan. So
on that note, if we do this every 5 years, that plan should pretty well be not that hard to update each time.
They're very, and
given the criteria you stated, it's primarily just weather.
Yeah, I mean, in 5 years' time, there is not much change in the hazard level in our county. Because we're a rural community, and so it's, if you was in Marion County, there, you can probably see changes all the time with manufacturing going in and all that kind of stuff. But for us, it's a farming community, and that's where it stays.
So I guess my point is if it is pretty boilerplate, does IU, whatever, Polis or whatever it's, are they giving us a pretty good price to do it versus?
The price they accept is what FEMA allows. So, like I say, they just take whatever's given to them. There's no negotiation or anything. They just take.
I'm just trying to look down the road because if we have to pay for it the next time.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they take whatever's given to them right now.
I think there's a common theme going forward here.
Yeah. So.
Any additional questions for Scott?
I move we approve the request.
Darren moves to approve.
Second.
Second by Mike Myers. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you for your work on this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
If I'm looking correctly at my agenda, that is it.
On the
About the office machine.
Office machines for CASA.
Oh. Turn the page. Which one you want to do first? CASA?
Yeah.
The one here. Additional computer, right? And it went through Dale.
Did it go through Dale? Sure went through Dale. Yeah, then it's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as it's going through Dale. Make a motion to approve that.
Second.
First by Matt, second by Marilyn. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Oh, same sign. And then you're seeing a salary ordinance for weights and measures.
So moved.
So moved by Matt. Second by Tom. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign.
For the Board of Zoning Appeals. Make a motion to acknowledge resignation from the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Second that?
Matt and Marilyn. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Oh, I know.
Questions from anybody? Grant's thinking about something. Nope.
Mayor? Okay.
Glad to have you. Anything else up here? In the brains of the outfit, anything? All right. We are adjourned.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Matt and Tom.